Welcome back to the Thone's Nibbles, the nibble number 23, and this covers Matthew 23, the Scribes and the Pharisees' Flaw. This comes from Matthew 23, verses 1 through 4. Then Jesus spoke to the multitudes and to his disciples, saying, The Scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. Therefore, whatever they tell you to observe, that observe and do. But do not do according to their works. For they say, and they do not do. For they bind heavy burdens, hard to bear, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. And so sort of the theme here is do what they say, not what they do. And this points out the respect that Jesus has for these religious officials, Scribes and Pharisees. Scribes are the people who recorded the law. Pharisees were the people who were very, very knowledgeable in the law. And it could well be that we could include the Sadducees here also, who were the official priests and Levites to practice the law. So the explanation here, why is this in the Bible? It shows us how to deal with rigid rulers. And over history, there's been a lot of those. Who is it written to? The disciples and a multitude of others. I mean, this is telling the disciples and the people how to deal with those rulers. Communication. It points out the sinfulness of even the most learned and responsible spiritual scholars. That is, there is no point where a person learns so much about God that they can operate without sin while they're still alive and on this earth. Application to my life. I must always be alert to the passionate true believers by careful study of my Bible. And, this is particularly talking about the Pharisees. They were clearly people who really, really wanted to be sure that everyone was obedient to the law. And unfortunately, as a result of doing that, in order to protect the people who might be a little ignorant of certain aspects of the law, they made sort of super laws, which prevented the possibility of a common layman making a mistake. They sort of built in an extra padding around the law, if you will, which would not allow a person, if you're not supposed to come to within 1 foot of some object, then they would build a fence around the object 10 feet away from the object, so that there's no way that you could accidentally come up too close to the object, because you would have to have arms that were 10 feet long to do that. So they made these super laws, and they were true believers. I mean, they really believed that they wanted everybody to exactly obey the law, and in that sense, that they had a good spirit, but the way they executed the plan was kind of not so great. So the message from God to me, seeing all that, is always follow the full Bible as guidance for what to do. And you notice that the full Bible does not include the writings of the Pharisees, the Scribes, and the Sadducees, other than those scribes that actually copied the Bible out to give more copies of the Bible. So we follow the full Bible as guidance for what to do, not some rule of thumb that a man has put together to guarantee that we won't break the law. My personal response: God always understands if you question a scripture or agonize over it. And, doing as much Bible research as I do to be able to present this and the big Thone's thoughts, and also I'm currently now preaching some at our church, I do a lot of Bible study, so I quite often come over a scripture which I either question how that could apply, or I agonize over it because it implies something about myself that I don't want to admit. And that is, we have to follow the scriptures. And if something which I enjoy doing suddenly appears to me as being something questionable in the scripture, then that's when the agony begins. So, at any rate, that completes Nibble number 23, and we'll see you tomorrow.